Right.
Hello, and welcome to the Quantum Bridge with myself, Casper. Caught slightly off guard, but that's how it is. Say hello, BB. There's BB.
It's always the way when he's relaxed. Well, they're all relaxed, really, aren't
True,
they? Yeah.
true. Yeah, they sort of are, unless suddenly our 37th dimensional versions come along and start laying
The
into
difference with
us.
this one, the beginning doesn't get clipped, so we get the raw start of the.
I really need that beginning clip.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope when it actually
Yeah.
goes out, you might have managed to get rid of the first few seconds. Of course, you won't because it's on me. So, um, anyway, hello. And yeah, as I said, welcome everybody. We thought we'd put something out, not really about the election per se, but about the sort of timelines around this moment. It feels a fairly pivotal shift moment,
Mm.
whatever direction things go from the 5th and beyond and into 2025, which a lot of our guests have seeming to say is a very, very pivotal year for a number of reasons. So Gary and I thought we put out a little video talking about what's coming next for us and how we feel about this sort of moment in time. So Gary, over to you, mate. How do you have you got any sense of this crescendo and the flicking of the switch and making us all multi-billionaires and then not care about being multi-billionaires because, of course, money doesn't matter? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling all right, I feel okay about things. I mean, I suppose because in some way I just think, well, we go back to that show that we did was it is what it is, right? We're going to just deal with whatever comes our way into
Mm.
our field. Um, Hopefully that's not too much chaos if you're vibing high, maybe, but yeah, it's bound to, whichever way this election goes, it's bound to have some friction or chaos as a result of it. Um, we'll see how it goes, yeah, really. But I guess from both of us, our wishes are with the US and the choice they've got to make. Hopefully, well, it'd be the guy that we would like to see. But, you know, you never know. And it's an interesting date. If you go back to our show that we did about the UK election, which was on the 4th of July, which is a sort of prominent date for the US audience. And then strangely, their election is on November the 5th, which is a prominent date for us here in the UK. So, I mean, at the time, we was like a little bit, is that relevant? Um, I mean, if you're not sure, in America, we celebrate that this fellow hundreds of years back called Guy Fawkes, he didn't get rid of Parliament. So it's kind of like a timely reminder, I guess, for us, the public, that what happens if you go against the state. It won't end well for you. So we, in some sort of propagandized way, sort of celebrate that each year that he wasn't successful. Make of that what you will. Yeah.
The funny thing about that is that, yes, it is meant to be a celebration that he wasn't successful, and yet everybody lets off fireworks and blows things up. So I don't know how much actually it is a celebration of lack of
Yeah,
success,
yeah,
and that there is still a sense of rebellion in what we actually end up doing as part of that. But yeah, you know, really, for those that are into dates and into sort of all of these things, I won't use the difficult words to pronounce, but just those that are into timings and dates. Yeah, these do feel handpicked. I think
mm,
I'll say about
yeah,
that. And yeah, just to say that for us, definitely in terms of our guests, there's been a whole host of conversations, as anybody that tunes into our material regularly will see, around no matter what happens.
mm,
So it's a very tough thing to go through. Whichever side you're on and whichever way it goes, it's going to leave some people upset and make others happy. And
mm,
it needs to ultimately lead, no matter what happens, to unity. And of course, the other thing, as Gary very poignantly pointed out, as have many of our guests as well, that this thing of maintaining, and probably the key moment, and I'm speaking to myself as much as anybody else, is to keep our vibe high and to not get too engaged. you might not be able to help to get somewhat engaged, but still to keep that higher perspective on all of this. And it's not the be all and end all. It can't be, and it mustn't be, because also our lives can't be absolutely dictated from the exterior. It has to come from inside. Given it does that, in a way, it's just a very stark reminder that we mustn't allow external events to push and pull us too much.
Absolutely, yeah. I sort of often think about this when, and rightfully so, when people are angry at the state of things and they're shouting at politicians. But we also know that these are the states of being they want us in. They want our attention of us being angry and being scared or whatever. And it's kind of like, to go back to who you are and just to have a look, are you being manipulated into those states? I mean, it's okay if that's what you feel, it's fine. It's we've all done that, and like I say, we're all susceptible to it at times, but I always try and come back and think, okay, are they trying to push my buttons here and come back to my center? So, the calm within the storm, I guess. And we have to see how it plays out. But again, I know we look at the characters and we look at, each candidate, if you like, but I try and look at it more in terms of energy. You're not really voting for a certain person, more the direction I feel that that you want to align with, that type of energy, where you see, we go back to that point in your car. Where do you want to go? At the fork in the road. Well, okay, I'd rather go this way because that's the destination I want. So there's lots of people on the motorway, but they don't all end up in the same place. They all go in their own ways, and that's fine. But I think as a collective, we have these pivotal points where we can say, well, I want to move away from that sort of ideology and we go more towards this one, rather than focusing on these characters that are put up. So, I don't know how you feel about all that, mate.
Yeah, I agree with the sort of analogy to do with highways and directions. Ultimately, it does feel again another moment where whatever does or doesn't happen, we have to keep in tune with heart. And I just confess that I don't think I'm going to find that particularly easy. And I definitely have been wavering over the last few days. And this has suddenly become such a pivotal moment to me as well, which I didn't think it would be quite like this, perhaps. I now need to, you've done that bit now, and now it's time to step back already and be less attached to outcomes. We've picked our fork in the road, we've picked our way forward. I'm sure many have, and I now bring that further away than things like just elections, but just about how we want to behave and how we want to resonate and who we want to be surrounded by. And I mean that more on a vibe level than anything else. Just, people that are calmer, people that are acting from the heart, and people who are less judgmental, full stop. So, hopefully that can be maintained. And we come through this relatively unscathed, no matter which way it goes. And, enter a much more... I think hopefully a more harmonious time. Probably harmony is a good word to use.
Yeah, well, that's the aim, isn't it? Right? It might take a little while, a little bit of bumps along the way. We've got the potentiality with the financial stuff and that switching. I mean, who knows? We haven't lived through these sorts of changes, so you just have to have faith that you can navigate this stuff if you sort of stay, like I say, not too wrapped up in try and remain in your, otherwise you'll lose your own sort of navigation, your connection, whatever you want to call it. You'll lose it if you get too wrapped up in anger and fear and things. You become blinded by that, and like I say, just get caught up.
Even hope, actually, even the idea of hoping for something and whatever, it is a time to trust the plan, the process. And by that, I mean that permeates and works through you, not anything to do with the external. Because if we do subscribe to the fact that there are billions, trillions, whatever it may be, of timelines. Ultimately, if your frequency chooses your timeline, then the key point now is to get the frequency bit right over the next few days and into the rest of this year, and certainly going into 2025. So, yeah, and just on that note, we've got people returning as returning guests coming up that we're looking forward to, and Gary might run through some of those. And also we had a guest on for the first time, a lady called Susan Gold, and she's also not only come on and had a really nice chat with us, she's based out in the States, near Canada, I believe, but actually still in the States. And she's been kind enough to introduce us to another potential new guest as well. So it's really nice that we're getting people who actually contact who want to come on and have a chat. And secondly, that leads to all these other things. So again, that's the thing of allowing perhaps the universe to act and not getting in its way or in our own way. Anyway, Gary, if there are people that you want to mention before we call an end to this.
Yeah, we have a returning guest was Mary Lou. So she's quite a while back, that one. So it's good that she's joined us again and sort of reintroduced her to the show. Very interesting conversation, I thought, about self-empowerment and, again, not externalizing things or allowing that stuff to, again, not giving your power away. And we covered, it was interesting that we had similar things crop up with the conversation with Susan as well.
Yeah.
So that was interesting, and a bit more, I suppose, out of this world stuff from Tony from the Melted Broadcast, who joined us with his wife Mary.
Yeah,
that was
it was lovely to meet Mary at last, and you're right, and it's great. We've got people who are certainly originally from like South America, from Mexico, and so on. In the case of Mary Lou as well, and now based either in Texas, in the case of the Melted guys, or in Canada, I think, in the case of Mary Lou. And just to say, it was out of this world. You're right. I'm sure you're coming on to it, but amazing stuff those Melted guys are doing at the moment. Amazing things actually happening to them and becoming visible. So, there's a lot more to think about than just ballots. There are the other worlds and the thinning of the veil and all of those nice things.
Yeah, a lot of people are reporting seeing globes of light in the sky, and we cover a lot of that. And if people fancy that sort of thing, they still like that. We had chap Skits. He did a lot of that sort of otherworldly stuff as well. So it's a great conversation. Which is already out if people want to check that one.
Yeah, go and watch Skits. That was great. And again, thanks to Tony for setting us up with that. And the other thing about all of this stuff and the sort of out of this world stuff and whatever is, we have a whole host and a different range of things always coming through. And I just think it's particularly nice that we have managed to maintain, with the help of our audience, a generally very accepting platform of all different points of view, and we don't necessarily subscribe to one or other or whatever, but we're willing to have people on from all sorts of backgrounds and points of view, and that to us is what is the richness of the Quantum Bridge, that we're not excluding people of any kind or any viewpoints. Really, we try to give people a platform and allow them to speak, and then people treat that as they will. They may not like it, they may love it, whichever way.
Yeah. On that note, obviously the audience might have noticed we've been putting a little bit of our creative efforts out there.
Yeah.
Some of my music, some of your writing.
Yeah.
The music's fairly self-explanatory, but maybe just a little bit about the books that you do, the Benjamin Hope stuff.
Yeah, the Benjamin Hope
actually in print, is it? It's just the audio at the minute.
Yeah, it's only an audio series. I might look to put that out, like I have other books in the past, in a print format. But yeah, I mean, just on that, it's really about sort of timelines, ultimately about a type of ascension, really, and just about those struggles that all different characters in that particular scenario have across a whole period of about, I don't know, 6 or 7 decades there. And it does jump about a lot. And there's a lot of different things happening at different times, and the characters change a lot. But hopefully there's a commonality. And what permeates it, I hope as well, is this sense of sort of an underlying sense of, despite a lot of nefarious and perhaps evil intent that run through the books from outside forces, that there is this underpinning of goodness going through it, and the power of sort of keeping on that, as we were touching on, keeping on that path, and playing the game perhaps more in a more noble way than some others might in your worlds. So I'd encourage anybody to engage with that and leave some feedback about it.
Yeah. I mean, there's quite a few episodes. I can't remember how many, but
yeah, I think ultimately there'll be 27 chapters in that first book, and there's a second book, and then a third one. It is a trilogy, but we'll look to probably put out something like 15 at first, and just see how it's all going and being received. But yeah, and it's great to have your music.
Yeah, we've got one a week. They go out on Friday. Yeah. If people want to wait, there is if they go into the playlist, there's a Benjamin Hopes playlist. If you'd rather sort of wait until they're all published, which, like Casper said, will be about 14, 15, I think.
Yeah.
In this first run. Yeah.
In the first run, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I know there's something we want to try and work on together if I can manage it. Another little music project that Casper's written some words for. Some lyrics. So I'm going to try have a go at that. It's something a bit different. So we'll see how we get on.
Yeah. That'll be great. I'm looking forward to that. But then, as with everything, it will find its right timing, and it will come out at the right time.
Yeah, definitely. We can, but try.
But yes, I think just to sum it up, because we didn't want this to be a long one, we thank all of our guests, as always, all of those who bother to turn up and watch and support the Quantum Bridge, which is many, many more now, which is great, and hopefully even more into 2025. And we hope we keep it authentic, and we keep it with the vibe it has, because I think it's got a really decent vibe. And obviously, I'm sure you'll say this yourself too, Gary, but we have huge amount of help in the background, and I mean that mainly emotional support, but from our families, but also to call out Jo, Gary's wife, and of course Steve, for all his incredible help as well in the background, parents and children and whatever, anybody in our families who's and friends. And we've got a nice group of friends who also have been very supportive as well. So I think it's right time again to sort of honour and thank them, and particularly anybody that watches, and a big thanks to our guests who, don't have to come on. It's a tiny channel. Some of them are quite well known now, and they keep coming back or coming on. And that's, we're very, very grateful.
Absolutely. Yeah. So thanks, everybody. And hopefully we'll be back soon. We might do another little show after the election. Let's see.
Yeah. And no matter which way it swings or what happens,
it's all good.
Yeah, ultimately, it's all good.
Right. Take care, everyone.
Yeah, take care, everybody. See you later.